The blue trunks, he is playing 10 to the south of this, the Antigua shipyard. No gold edition right there. Versus his opponent, it is Roxkus Titan. He is in the green trunks, playing Protoss to the north.
And man, if he manages to pull off a 1-1-1 again, you know, man, it doesn't matter. Whatever you do against Puma, that's all he's going to do. But at the same time, he can play super straightforward. He can play very reactionary with his decisions, scanning and then reacting. So he can play a straight-up game. There's no doubt about it. On the other hand, Titan, man, one game away from potentially being out of the tournament in another sweep. IEM Kiev 0-3. I don't even think he took a map, actually. I could be wrong on that. But to go out again in a 0-3 or 0-2 fashion would be horrible for his confidence for the rest of the year. It really would.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of if he loses this, if there's even a possibility of him continuing. I don't think so.
Well, it does depend on other results. There could be the 1-2 as well. 1-2 if Puma goes.
The problem is that he lost the game against. Oh wow, he's angry. He's just beaten up the little automaton right there. That's unfortunate. But the thing is that he lost the first game 2-0, which means that map score is not in his favor.
Absolutely. So I don't know, man. This is going to be very difficult for Titan for sure. We'll see if he changes it up. I mean, I wouldn't have even been surprised to see Puma change it up, and he is doing that. You know, go for an incredibly aggressive build in game 1 to an incredibly greedy game in game 2.
Just chill.
Really put Titan in a position where he can't cut corners, just in anticipation for aggression, and then just play really, really greedy. He's going to go for this 1 barracks expansion, and then we'll see. I mean, I think it's just going to be a very standard game here from Puma. And Titan, man, it's all about Titan in this game. What can Titan do to beat Puma rather than Puma the other way around?
And exactly, and he needs to be absolutely aware of what his opponent's doing. He needs to keep an eye on him at all times and not make any assumptions whatsoever against Puma. That's the weird thing, because Titan obviously knew what was coming for pretty much that entire game. It's like, hey, it's Puma, it's Shakuras, it's Protoss, it's going to be 1-1-1. Why not? It works. Yeah. Don't fix what isn't broken. And he had the answer to it, but he then kind of threw it away. But now Puma plays this gasless expansion style, and Titan needs to know about it, and then he needs to react accordingly.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to grab an earlier expansion this time around at 400 minerals now, but Puma lands down like a, well, I guess not really because the Zelt's there, but he will deny it just for a little bit, and look at that. Oh, that
nice little dodging and weaving, yeah. Well, Puma is the dancing entertainment. Nicely done. There you go. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
He's really taking...
he's learned his steps.
Out of Titan right now. Look at that, he really is. He's just
it's a square dance. Look at that. Eventually, that's going to get killed. Or maybe not. Wow. He can actually get away with it.
That's so frustrating for Titan, I'm sure, especially being this game down.
More frustrating for that Zealot, I think.
Yeah. And the Stalker's being produced now. He hasn't even started Warpgate yet. Look at that. There's just some mistakes coming out from Titan.
Yeah.
And this is really bad. He's supply blocked as well. Oh, man. It really is. Titan's falling apart. There's no doubt about that.
It's an incredibly tough opponent. It really is. You know, Titan doesn't have a huge amount of big tournament experience. We did see him come to form in DreamHack. He's played in a couple of others. But Puma, he's unshakable. This is the guy that used to practice against Flash. How do you shake that guy?
Well, it's not going to be easy, that's for sure. And
I think you just have to actually pick him up and do it physically. That's the only way.
And double barracks thrown down behind this, so pretty standard. Then into the double refineries, so super, super standard. And usually you'll see an engineering bay come down, go for the upgrade pretty early, go for +1, could go for an early factory as well. And usually the variation of Tech Lab reactor is usually what we'll see. But double more gateways coming down for Titan. And I wonder if he's going to be a little bit emotionally tilted through his tournament, if he'll just do something crazy off 2 base, rather than try to play to his strengths, which usually is a longer drawn-out game, and going for that Colossus, taking a third, and then establishing your late game. But we'll see how the game 1 affected Titan.
Oh, I really hope he's not, but just watching his performance in game 1, it makes me very worried for him. It really does. Like you watch that engagement, and he's probably watched it in the replay and thought, what was I doing? And he threw away a potential win there. So I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll find out shortly. We've got
an early factory coming down for Puma, actually.
Interesting, yeah. I mean, we'll have to see what he decides to do.
He hasn't made any Marauders, sorry. No, he hasn't thrown down additional reactor or tech lab, so he's just shooting straight for early medivacs here. Early pressure, you know, it could go for a direct attack, could drop in the main as well. And that's so far gone unscattered, of course, because this is the awkward time where Protoss don't know what is behind anything. You know, if it's for an early engineering bay, early factory, if it's for an early upgrades and so on, multiple barracks. So we'll see. I mean, he's going to have to chrono boost that observer out to get some scanning information. He does see the marine count, and stim is halfway done. And because he's saved up gas, that he can go straight into double medivacs and then go straight with the stim with a couple of Marauder Marines.
Yeah, it'll be a great timing window for him, and there's very little time to prepare if you happen to be a Titan in that situation. We've got Puma deliberately pushing his opponent further and further back, denying that scouting information. The observer's not on the field yet. Even when it is, it's going to take a while to get there, and the starport is over halfway done. So this is going to get messy.
Titan taking double gases on the natural, shoots straight up for the robotics bay, and Puma lands the scan of the robotics facility, so he doesn't know exactly what's going on because the scan did come in before the robotics bay came down.
Yeah.
But the natural timing that we're going to see from Puma with just a couple of medivacs and a handful of units, it may be difficult for Titan because he's investing so much in tech and upgrades right now, especially with a double forge being thrown down, and Immortal's coming out to help defend because he is taking a big investment,
Puma,
and the observer
he
does
took
go
it out.
down as well. And now it's lights out. And did that observer even go into the main
No,
base?
not
No,
even
it
close.
did not. And there's the other observer, and that's going to have to
far away.
take a long way around. And the medivacs are going to be out and across the map by the time the observer even gets there.
Puma playing incredibly well at this point, and just he spots that observer immediately. He even knows the kind of timing, especially with the scan, that observer would be. He spots the blur, and he moves for the interception. And he might have even seen this one, actually. He's in a good spot to intercept it, but maybe he hasn't. He is sort of drawing himself back right now.
And he's gone for the observer's speed. This is nuts. I mean, understandably, yeah, you can't really get scouting information, but I wonder if that's a mistake instead of thermal lance. Because
maybe, yeah.
he's going to be under a lot of pressure now, and I don't know. I mean, that's not a mistake you'd really see. I mean, he should clearly know that that's not thermal lance, but the medivacs are coming in, and it was spotted. Fortunately, the observer on the right-hand side did see it.
Yeah.
So if Puma doesn't react, if he's got sloppy reaction time, which he shouldn't have, he should be able to just pull back in time, which immediately happens.
Yeah, he's not messing around. As soon as he sees the first pixel alert stalk, he's like, nope, not going in there. The observer's speed is now done, and it's a useful upgrade, but it's nowhere near as useful as Thermal Lance, and Thermal Lance still hasn't started yet either.
Yeah, it's really good that he does have the speed. It's going to keep track of these medivacs, which on this map is the problem as far as it's so difficult to actually defend main to natural or third from medivacs, and the observer will track that medivac. But a pylon here, which, oh my god, it's going to unpower the cybernetics core. Oh, Titan.
Oh, that's not good. Unpowered cybernetics core, no stalkers, and no sentries for you, I am afraid. A little bit of fire taken, but Puma's not too worried about that. We've then got this one, which of course being tracked by the incredibly fast observer that wishes it had a gun right now.
Yeah, and it looks like the factory planted down on that third base, preventing Titan from taking it, but he does have, maybe it wasn't a mistake with this thermal lance, maybe it actually was his strategy and game plan, but before we continue with that, a drop in the main base, even though being followed by an observer, manages to go in, manages to pick up just a couple of probe kills there, just about 3, backs out in time. But going back to that strategy, observers with speed and patrol moves outside key locations, the main and the third base, is a pretty cool strategy to deploy, but he still hasn't even gone back to follow up with Thermal Lance, which questions it a little bit here. But he should realize now that the observers have speed and that he doesn't have Thermal Lance.
Yeah, I have to imagine that he does. Thermal Lance is just that crucial upgrade. There really aren't a huge number of strategies that involve skipping Thermal Lance, especially bearing in mind that you can then just be shot at by Terran ground units without any problem at all. And those things will get sniped. I mean, hell, you can drop on top of a Colossus and annihilate it with Marauders, no problem at all. And it's worth it, it really is. You lose a couple of Marauders, you kill a Colossus, no problem.
And the Ghost Academy immediately slopped down because he knows as now that the Protoss player starts to take the third base, starts to take that 5th and 6th Gath, sometimes you may actually see a tech switch over into Templar Archive, so he's just been ready for that. Unfortunately for Puma here, it doesn't look like he's built the armory, which is a bit of a mistake here, that he can't continue with his upgrades and just now builds it down. So he is stunted a little bit at 1-1, and that's the kind of advantage we're going to see if Titan continues to chrono boost into the forges, is that advantage will heavily swing his way. And the 2 medivacs on the top right-hand side now being tracked once again by this speedy observer.
Yeah, Titan does have this big upgrade advantage and that visibility advantage. He knows what's coming, and drops just aren't happening.
Ooh, that's pretty cheeky.
It is rather. Specifically, that is a pylon there being placed under just to delay that a little bit more. Great, do what the opponent did to you with that factory. And funnily enough, this observer speed has actually made Puma really paranoid about dropping because
Yeah.
like he's realized that, oh, there's observers tracking everything I'm doing.
Yeah.
I can't go in. And this has given Titan an opportunity. The problem is that he's still behind.
And, you know, as we just even created the map, we said that it's going to be Antiga's shipyard. That was one of the things I said, is that on this map, Protoss players do have difficulty versus these drops. So it's an interesting choice there. And I'm going to moan about it again. There's still no thermal
Where's
lance.
the thermal lance? Yeah.
But he is now working on +3 now for his attack upgrade, that is Titan. Puma now just starting his 2-2. And to be honest, Titan has this really comfortable position right now. He has a decent amount of Colossus. And Zealot charges being Chronobus as well. The Templar Archives should want to come down soon now as he's taking the gas on this third base. And the Ghosts are in production expecting that, but that's not what we're seeing yet.
It's an intriguing strategy that doesn't make a huge amount of sense, really, when it comes to the number of Colossus there. I mean, the Colossus are going to die very, very fast, and then, of course, you have that natural transition out, but Puma's already ready for it.
Yeah, that's the problem without getting the Templar Archives, is that there's currently 12 Vikings, 2 more on the way, so he's going to be at 14 very shortly.
+1 coming in for them,
and
too.
+1 as well.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to shoot these Colossus down, and once the Colossus go down, what then do you have left to fight against the bio ball from Puma,
And the worst,
which is where Storm usually would come into play, but he's not going to have that option. He does have the higher upgrade advantage, which he's going to be at 3-3 very sure.
And the worst thing about that is extended thermal lance means extra shots before your Colossus die, and that's not going to happen. Before the Colossus get into range, they're going to take a salvo from those Vikings. Vikings have range 9, Colossus without upgrade have range 6, which is not very good at all. You can easily get taken out by Marauders in that situation. So it's a very close-knit, dangerous death ball that could also be heavily EMP'd as well.
And he's not even taking the gases on this third base. He's throwing down 5 more gateways, and I think he's just going to launch himself at 3-3. He's not even thinking about a backup plan. This is it, do or die from Titan. And a scan goes down from Puma, sees the Colossus count. 3-3, so close to finishing now. The bio ball will be at 2-2 as well, so there'll just be that single upgrade advantage, but I'm really scared about the Vikings.
It's 16
landing
Vikings.
down their pain onto the Colossus here, and still no gas taken by Titan on that third base. He's going to go now. 3-3 is finished, Total Biscuit.
I don't know if this is
Just
going to be
about to
enough.
finish.
It's almost done. There we
Oh,
go.
the Vikings.
Good God, look at that. The Colossus don't even get a look in. They're going to die immediately.
Oh, and he's clumped up, the EMP's hit everything.
That is disastrous. There's no way. There's no way Titan's army is going to get crushed right now. It's not even funny. We've got the blink coming in, but all of the chargelets have been annihilated. Puma stims forward, annihilates that army, no problem. And, well, that's what happens when you have no thermal lance. But even then, you've got to think about, well, Puma was able to overcommit to Vikings because of no Templar Archives. It's finally coming down, but
a little bit too late. 97 supply versus 162. Puma's just going to charge up, snipe the third base, and that was pretty much going to be game set. Titan's going to try and defend with only Zealots. And the Marine Marauders are now getting healed up. They're working on 3-3 upgrades, and this is a really fantastic position for Puma, looking towards a 2-0 win here, and a 2-0 in his groups as well.
Yeah, if he does that, the chances of Puma advancing are almost assured, based on the way that the group stages actually work out. So those saying that Puma's been shaky recently, well, he's certainly not showing it now. He is very much on the ball, and Titan struggling against him, losing a couple more charges, as you really can't afford to lose right now. Puma with a much larger army stims forward into the chargelets. Once again, extended thermal lance is just not happening, and easily annihilated by the Viking count. Puma just kind of even just lazily letting his Vikings die here.
Puma can kite all day, and he doesn't even need to. He's just going to destroy the Zealot army very fast, and then what? There's a couple of Archons and Stalkers left, which this Marine Marauders won't have a problem with. And Puma goes streaming through now. As soon as the Archons and Zealots die, that is going to be it for Titan. And one Colossus comes in still without its thermal lance. It's like, guys, I just want to be upgraded. That is not
no
gonna
upgrades
happen.
for you, I'm afraid. Puma's army taking a pounding, but easily reinforcing from the back here. And Titan, his army supply is devastatingly low. It's 24 to 98. And Puma is going to take this game. GG. 2-0 sweep.